Have you ever wondered why some people spend their entire lives working hard and never feel wealthy, while others quietly build a fortune in the background? Why does everything seem impossible until you hit one number? $100,000. They say it's the hardest money you'll ever make. But what if getting there isn't about luck or a high income, but something else entirely? Here's how to get there faster. Before we begin, this is Financially Well. Saving money sounds simple. Spend less than you earn. Put the difference aside. Repeat. But when you're starting from scratch, it doesn't feel simple. It feels like trying to fill a swimming pool with a coffee mug. You sacrifice. You skip dinners. You cancel subscriptions. You work overtime. And at the end of the month, you've saved a couple hundred. And maybe then you check your investment app, and it barely moved. It's demoralizing, because in the beginning, money grows painfully slow. And it's not your fault. It's how the math works. If you're saving $300 a month, even with a 10% return, it could take over 14 years to reach $100,000. If you double that to $600, you might cut the time in half. But it's still a grind. That's why this stage of wealth building isn't about returns. It's about contributions, the fuel, not the engine. Because at the beginning, compound interest isn't helping much. It's barely awake. In year one, most of your portfolio is just your own savings. The growth feels like a trickle, because it is. And that's when most people give up. They think, if this is what saving feels like, I'll never make it. But here's the thing, that slow, boring climb is doing more than you think. It's building momentum. It's setting the stage for the tipping point. Because once you cross that six-figure line, something changes. Your money starts helping. The snowball begins to roll, and it no longer feels like you're doing it alone. But before we talk about what happens after $100,000, let's focus on how to actually get there. Because while most people stay stuck, you don't have to. And it starts with the first tip. Before you invest, before you automate savings, before you build a portfolio, you need to kill your debt. Especially the bad kind. Credit cards, personal loans, overdrafts, high-interest car payments. These aren't just monthly bills, they're wealth killers. Because here's the truth. If you're paying 20% interest on debt while earning 8% on investments, you're losing money every month, no matter how disciplined you are. A student loan with a 3% interest rate, a mortgage with a 30-year fixed rate. Those might be manageable. But high-interest consumer debt? That's financial quicksand. The longer you stay, the harder it is to escape. You're not just losing money, you're losing time, momentum, freedom. Eliminating bad debt isn't sexy, but it's the foundation. Because once you're out of the red, you can finally start building real wealth. Saving is safe, but saving alone is slow. A savings account protects your money, but it doesn't grow it. If you save $500 a month for 16 years, you'll eventually reach $100,000. But if you invest that same $500 and earn just 10% a year, you could get there in 10 years or less. That's 6 years of your life back. Investing doesn't require a fortune. You don't need a financial advisor or a six-figure salary. You can start with $100 or even less. What matters is starting. Because investing does two powerful things. It puts your money to work, and it builds your identity. You stop seeing money as something to stash away and start seeing it as something to deploy. Every dollar you invest is like a tiny employee. It shows up every day. It works while you sleep. It doesn't complain. And if you treat it right, it multiplies. That's the power of compounding, but it only works if you start. Waiting for the perfect moment to invest? It doesn't exist. There will always be noise. The market's too high. The economy is uncertain. What if I lose money? But the real risk is doing nothing, because inflation doesn't wait, time doesn't wait, and neither should you. Investing isn't about timing the market, it's about time in the market. So even if your portfolio looks small now, keep going, because every contribution is building your future. One of the biggest reasons people quit is because they expect too much too soon. They start saving, they invest for a few months, and when they don't see big results, they feel like it's not working. But here's the truth. In the beginning, growth is slow, painfully slow. You're planting seeds, not harvesting crops. And if you're not prepared for that, you'll abandon the process right before it starts working. That's why you need a realistic goal. Not a fantasy, not a dream board, a clear, grounded, measurable goal. I want to save $100,000 in 3 years. Great. Now, let's do the math. If you're starting from zero and want to reach $100,000 in 3 years, you'd need to invest around $2,300 per month, assuming a 10% annual return. Can't do that right now? Then adjust the timeline. Make it 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Stretch the time. Don't break the goal. Once you see the real numbers, you stop guessing and start strategizing. You stop chasing shortcuts and start building systems. And the beauty of a clear goal is this. It's about leakage. Think of your money like water. If the bucket has holes, it doesn't matter how fast you fill it. It'll never stay full. That's why spending control isn't optional. It's essential. This isn't about cutting out all joy. It's about spending with intention. Identify your top 2 money drains. For most people, it's housing and transportation. Rent too high, car too expensive. You're not just losing comfort, you're losing years of progress. Every $200 you overpay in rent isn't just $200. It's $200 that could have been invested and grown. Cars are one of the biggest wealth traps. Monthly payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, depreciation. That flashy car might feel good today, but 5 years from now it's worth half, and your wealth hasn't moved. The truth is, people waste fortunes trying to look successful, while those who are building wealth often drive modest cars, live in modest homes, and skip the noise. You can only cut so much, but earning, that's unlimited. At some point, no budget will save you if your income barely covers your needs. That's why earning more isn't a luxury, it's survival, especially in the early stages, when your contributions matter more than your returns, when your snowball is still small, and every extra dollar gives it more weight. You build a second stream, not for lifestyle upgrades, but for one thing only, fueling your future. You don't need an office or 1 million followers, you need a skill and some initiative. Writing, design, tutoring, coding, translating, editing videos, there's a market for it. Sell digital products, offer consulting. Start small. Start tonight. Every extra $500 a month is acceleration. It shortens the timeline. It builds the habit of ownership, not just consumption. And remember, this isn't forever. You don't have to hustle 24/7. You just need to push until the snowball rolls on its own. Something strange happens at $100,000. Not instantly, not with fireworks, but quietly and powerfully. It's the point where your money starts helping. A 10% return on $100,000 is $10,000, a second income, and it gets reinvested. Next year, it earns even more. That's when you stop pushing the snowball and start steering it. It's not just math, it's momentum. That shift changes how you think. You stop chasing money and start optimizing what you have. $100 feels like a seed, not a splurge. You build systems, you automate, simplify, and focus. You don't try harder, you design smarter. And that structure turns wealth into something sustainable. The real transformation isn't just financial, it's who you become. Make sure to subscribe to Financially Well.